Scott Gecas joins us from Chicago. And Scott, thanks for joining us. He's with Walsh Trading there. A quick review of the acreage numbers that I'm talking about, and we'll put them on the screen here right now. The trade was looking for a corn acreage number of 87. They didn't think USDA would go down too far, so they said, nah, they'll come up with maybe 87 million acres, and USDA came out with 91.7, just shocked the trade. That's 2.5 million more than we had a year ago. Soybeans, 80 million acres. The trade was looking for about 84.6, so that was a shock the other direction, but just wild action here in the grain markets today, Scott, as we head toward the weekend. What's the talk on the floor there?
Yeah, I mean, it was a complete surprise. I mean, it took everybody by surprise. But as you said, just going into this report that, people are very skeptical of these numbers. We're some of the satellite imagery is way off compared to the USDA. With the soybeans coming in at 80, very low, even lower than the average range. So, everyone is completely taken by surprise. But, at the same time, that's the reason why the volatility was absolutely through the roof going into this report. Going into the report, the August options were pricing at about a 42-cent move. So with that being said, I mean, it's kind of holding true, and that's why we follow the options. The options definitely have a stronger gauge other than just red and green bars. So, I mean, it gives you definitely a little bit of an inkling of which way the market's going to go based on just flow and probability as well as implied volatility. So, right now, everybody is completely shocked. I mean, some of the farmers out I was talking to just coming into this right before, they were just flabbergasted. They have no idea where they're getting these numbers from. Everybody was expecting, completely different numbers, but at the same time, the headlines are headlines, and the market is reacting to what the headlines are.
And for what it's worth, and I can just hear the producers out there screaming at their TV sets right now, saying USDA in their last report, they brought their production estimate down 10 bushels an acre because they knew there were problems out there, and yet they have a higher than expected acreage number. It just doesn't go together whatsoever, those two, and that's going to be fascinating to see what they do in their next July report now.
Right, and that's what everyone was focusing on. With this number coming in, everyone already was skeptical of, regardless of whatever the numbers were. Obviously, it's holding true right now, but we have to wait until the July 11th report to see what the exact numbers are. We're going to get a little bit more headway and a little bit more clear picture of what the real numbers really are. This report, you take it with a grain of salt.
Okay, we'll see how they close. We got a long ways to go to the finish line here today, so it's a very volatile day. You're right. We'll come back and see the livestock reaction to all this data and wild market action in Chicago when we come back. Lean hogs, after that report came out, the hogs went higher on the deferreds. We have the August up 205 yet at 79.22, October up $1.90 at 73.50. Is this the kickstart that we need to get this livestock trade off of its contract lows here, Scott?
Well, I think so. With the cattle in particular, we need to hold that 105 level. If we can hold that 105 level, we see a little bit more upside. But we got to wait and see where this is going to close. Everything right now, especially with the protein complex, everyone's going to be focused on the G20. If we get any type of positive comments out of the G20 with China, as well as any kind of deal, that you're going to see a big bump up in all the protein complex. It doesn't really matter what it is. So we're going to have to wait and see what is going to happen over the weekend.
All right, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on as we come back next week, and it's going to be a very short trading week, too, with the holiday in the middle of it. So the way it sounds with the weather, maybe it'll be good grilling weather next week, too. So maybe that'll help out to support this thing. Thank you, Scott, for all the comments today. I appreciate it. I know you're busy. Scott Gecas, he's with Walsh Trading right there in Chicago. So excellent information and a lot going on today.